and welcome to this segment of Yavapai Speaks. I'm Lyle Rapacki, your host, and my special guest, and I say that, don't I, every week, but I tell you something, these people are really special, and I hope you're enjoying, once you get to meet them, with what I'm sharing and what they share, that they really are special. I don't think that means they're better than anyone, and I think they'd be the first to say that, but they're special because they're giving of themselves to make our county, our state, a better place. So my special guest is Yavapai County Sheriff David Rhodes, and he just got off of a plane and hurried all the way up here just to be with us. So no, that can't cost me. That was a good plug. That was a good one. Okay,
that was a good one.
You know, every time you talk to a sheriff, I mean, it could go either way, right? Sheriff, thank you so much. I do know you've been out all over, and you did hurry on up here to be with us, so thank you very much. Before we get into this, the sheriff's got an incredible story, and I've been after him for a couple of weeks to come on, and he has been busy. He's been gone and all that. But you're going to enjoy a few things that I begged him to talk about, and he does not. He's very unpretentious, and he does not share openly about what he's accomplished. And so I've begged him, and I said, I'm going to sit outside your house until you talk about these things. It cost me a ticket, but what the heck, you know. But we're going to talk about some personal things, and I think you're going to be really pleased that you paid attention today. I also want to thank Prescott Smoothie, the Prescott Smoothie Bar. That's a brand new bar, and the sheriff just got off of a plane, and he was hungry. He hasn't been able to eat or drink or do anything, and he said, hey, could you get me just a little snack or something? And this Prescott Smoothie Bar made these for us, and I want to thank them. We paid for them, but they gave it to us for cost and really put in some extra stuff to make it really exciting for us. But Prescott Smoothie Bar and More is the name of the facility, and I want you. We've been there. My wife and I went over. It's really, really cool. And so I want to plug them and thank them so much for these, and encourage you to go over and say hi. Now, Sheriff, here we go. You were born in Bisbee, Arizona, but you moved up here to Yavapai. I think you were 6.
I was, yes.
I got that right.
You did.
I've been practicing. Okay, so you've been in Yavapai County since you were 6.
Yeah.
And your grandpa, I think it was a sheriff. He was a chief deputy in Cochise County.
He was. My grandfather was chief deputy in Cochise County back in the 60s, 70s.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. They were still doing patrol on horses, I think.
They actually were. I have a picture of the entire sheriff's office in Cochise County. He's in it. It was a postcard that they sent out. And there's 6 of them, and 3 of them are on horses, and there's 1 car. And no uniforms, but they did have a badge.
There you go.
And a gun.
There we go.
An old wheel gun, you know.
No. Real gun, 6-shooter.
Yeah.
John Wayne.
That's right.
And then, so you've come from a law enforcement family, and you've been with the Yavapai County Sheriff's Office since 1994, I think it is.
That's correct, yeah.
That's a long time.
30 years, yeah.
And so you've served in every capacity in the Sheriff's Department, working your way up, and then you became chief deputy, and now you're sheriff.
That's absolutely correct.
Wow. That's a long time.
It is. It's gone by quick. You know, there's some highs and lows and some things you remember and love, but it's been a great career. It's been my privilege. It's my honor. I feel very humble and grateful that I got to do it for as long as I have.
That's so neat. Okay, some bullet points. Oh, you don't say that to a sheriff, do you? You say bullet points? Can I do that? He's got 20 officers standing all around here, so you can't see them, but that way he's safe. I'm making this up. Somebody's going to call in and get yeah, they will. This is off of your political packet. You're running for re-election.
I am, yes.
To sheriff. And I took this off of your packet because I was caught by what I'm about to ask you. These are your priorities for running. So what I'm going to do is push you. I'm going to raise your priorities. They're right here, ladies and gentlemen, and I'm not making up anything, but ask you for a quick response for each one, okay? I do know that you can share a little bit more about it, and maybe I'll have you back. Here's some more where he can share on this. I'm purposefully causing him to share aphoristically. That's the word for the week. Really short and to the point, okay? Border security.
We don't have a country without it, and I will fight and fight and fight to make sure that it does not impact Yavapai County.
Now, I've already heard from citizens up here, because you spoke on this a couple of weeks ago somewhere, and people were really taken in a nice way, thinking, I'm not making this up now, thinking that we really do have a sheriff that will protect us.
I have been fighting and fighting to prevent border security issues from creeping into Yavapai County, mainly by enforcing the rule of law and deporting illegal immigrants that are booked into my jail.
Public safety.
Public safety is holistic. It's a relationship between the community and the police, and we all have to do it together.
The Constitution.
It's ironclad. It is the guiding light and the basis of all decisions that I make.
The sheriff is the chief constitutional law enforcement officer of any county.
That's right.
We have 3,200, I believe, across America. I'm a member of constitutional sheriffs and peace officers. I'm a life member. And I know, having gone out and represented constitutional sheriffs, peace officers, that the public did not know the role of the sheriff in the old days.
The sheriff.
The sheriff. Richie Mack loved it when I did that. Sheriff Mack's the founder and president of constitutional sheriffs and peace officers. And I've known Richie, I don't know, 15 years. You've known him longer. But the sheriff is the chief constitutional law enforcement officer. We depend on you. And I'm not being funny now. I mean, you are the chief law enforcement officer that all of us as citizens can depend on when the politicians and other people go mucky-muck and play around. You stand, and your word is bond.
That's absolutely right. It's a responsibility that I have always taken very seriously. I learned to do this job from some of the best sheriffs in the state, in the country, Sheriff Scott Masher, Sheriff Buck Buchanan. Those are the guys that really mentored me, but you're 100% right. Take that very seriously and always here for the people.
So we can count on the sheriff as protecting us as the chief law enforcement officer.
Absolutely. That is the job, Lyle.
And I'm not making up, and I'm not messing with you right now. Police chiefs come and go. They can be bent by the political winds of the city councils or whatever. The sheriff has a direct responsibility to we the people, and we the people elected you and said, we need you to protect us.
That's right. The people place this incredible responsibility in the hands of the sheriff, and the sheriff has to have the understanding of what that means. Not only the understanding, the experience, knowledge, skills, both operationally and politically, to pull that off.
Okay, I'm going to maybe get in a little trouble here, but it's my show. I won't be able to drive afterwards, but what the heck. All kidding aside, I'm going to push you on this because I know this is something that citizens truly are worried, concerned. If political figures want to slip illegals into our county, and you investigate and look at the whole thing, and you see that as not just a public nuisance, but as a threat, you are the chief law enforcement officer. And my understanding, now please correct me, but my understanding is that you outrank the governor in the county in many matters.
Well, in law enforcement matters. As the chief law enforcement officer, it's not a matter of rank. The governor has certain constitutional responsibilities, and the sheriff has constitutional responsibilities. And so when we're having a conversation about who's supposed to do what, the governor's job is not chief law enforcement officer of the county. The governor does have a police force, essentially, that they oversee. That's the Arizona Department of Public Safety, they call themselves the state troopers. But they're a secondary agency. They are not a primary law enforcement agency. In fact, they don't have a jurisdiction delegated to them in the Constitution or in the statutes of the state anywhere. The sheriff is the constitutional authority, is the first responder, is your chief law enforcement officer in each county.
And I've heard you speak over the last couple of years that we, the people, can relax a little bit. That may be small letters, relax and depend on you and your department to protect us.
Well, that's the role. And I would just point to the fact that I think people in Yavapai County are enjoying a quality of life. The word has gotten out, and lots of people are moving here.
We need to talk about that.
And that quality of life has everything to do with public safety first. So I don't say relax, always remain vigilant, but trust me to tell you if a problem is brewing or something's going on. We will coordinate the response.
Along those lines, again, on one of your bullet points, Second Amendment.
Well, look, the Second Amendment is also ironclad. The Founding Fathers recognized the need to keep and bear arms by the citizens to defend themselves, and I will always fight to protect the Second Amendment, which I have, refusing to enforce unlawful executive orders. And the other thing I'll say about that, we talked about it on the phone, we're not going to go into it today, but I saw the situation on October 7th, and those people, unfortunately, in Israel, they did not have a Second Amendment right, and I believe things could have been different, at least marginally, if they did.
And we will come back to that again. Stop fentanyl.
Stop fentanyl. I would just say this: arrest all the drug dealers, give treatment to the best that we can to the drug users, but hold them accountable. If you don't want to take treatment, then you're going to end up in jail, bottom line. But this is the scourge of society. We got to get it out of here.
Mental health.
Mental health is also, mentally ill people are overrepresented in our jails. We have to use the jail as the hub of the criminal justice system to put people on a path to recovery and to get them treatment.
Deputy retention.
Creating a culture of leadership, work-life balance, a belief in the mission and values, and adequate pay and compensation. And that's what I've been fighting for the last 3 years.
And I believe you have increased you've decreased the vacancies you've had. You've been able to get some more deputies, and that's helped you a lot.
Absolutely. We have 150 certified patrol positions or certified sworn positions. Today I checked before I came on the show, there's 4 vacancies.
So I could even apply.
You could apply, but there's other people in front of you. We have backgrounds in the process.
Okay. Well, does it help that I got you a smoothie? All right, let's move on.
I think it was Pam. Pam could turn in
oh my goodness.
An application.
There we go. My wife. Now, look at that. I'm telling you. Okay. Community values.
Well, yes. Yavapai County, the community values of Yavapai County are freedom, constitutional rights, and we are fighting to protect that every single day through the enforcement of the law and creating a culture of public safety.
And this is going to be a segue. Fiscal conservative, that's on your thing. But then I want to segue into something. Fiscal conservative. What do you mean?
Getting the most value out of every tax dollar spent. It doesn't mean not spending the tax dollars. It means making them efficient and making them impactful and furthering the mission.
Okay. Here we go. Now ladies and gentlemen, I'm enjoying this because it's my show. I mean, it may cost me afterwards. No, I did not know this. We had coffee a few weeks ago, and in the course of just the normal chit chat and coffee, the sheriff said something to me that really caught my attention, if you remember. And I was so taken by it that I said, you need to come on the show, and I'm going to beg you. I'm going to I don't know if you can force the sheriff, but I'm going to do everything I can to get you to talk about this, because he doesn't discuss these things. This happened a little while ago, a year or so ago?
A few years ago,
yeah. A few years ago. And I've never heard this story. And I asked several people, and they had never heard this story. And now I'm begging you, I'm here, I'll take your smoothie away. I want you to tell the story of a gentleman that was arrested in Cottonwood, Arizona. Yavapai County, for those outside of the state and all that. He was arrested for loitering, I think the charge was.
Mm-hmm.
And that's all I'm going to share right now. I'd like you to pick it up.
Sure. Well,
and talk about what you did.
I would tell you about it. And okay. Look, let me start by telling you this. People that, whether you're the sheriff or you're a deputy, you're a police officer, people that are working in the government, people that are working in law enforcement, and you've been doing it a while and you get into a position where you can kind of see common sense, right and wrong, and people reach out to you all the time and they have problems or you see problems and you got to make a decision. Are you going to insert yourself in this situation and try to make it right? Because even though the law says this or the policy says that, the final outcome is not good for anybody. And so when you've got the knowledge and the experience, the skills, and you're in a position of authority where you can make something right, I've always believed that that's what we should be aiming to do. And that's what I've always tried to do. Even these days, I get calls from members of the public all the time, and they say, we have this problem, we have that problem. And I personally get involved to solve those issues for them. This particular issue was in the jail, and it was in a time when I was really learning about, some of the decisions that were being made on the criminal justice side and some of the incredible inefficiencies. You talk about fiscal conservancy, you talk about constitutional rights, you talk about common sense. And I had all of these people in the jail that were being arrested for things or incarcerated by the judges or whatnot. And that was not the best outcome. So I get a call from our medical director and she says, hey, we just got somebody in on a court commit. And what happened was this guy had some charges, some misdemeanor charges at a municipal court, and he wasn't paying his fines. And the judge got fed up with him after a period of time and said, you know what, you're not going to pay your fines. I'm going to sentence you to the maximum sentence for that class 1 misdemeanor, or for the misdemeanor, which was 6 months. So he sentences this guy to jail for 6 months. The medical director calls and she says, hey, this guy has diabetes, and his medication, which was being paid for by Medicaid, is $12,000 a month. So the judge just handed the jail, the Yavapai County taxpayers, a $72,000 bill. So I go over to the jail, I meet with the defendant, with the incarcerated person. The first thing that I notice is that he's missing a foot. And he has diabetes and he's had it for a long time. So I ask him a few questions. I say, hey, you're here, what's going on? He's like, well, I don't have a job. I really can't get a job. I got this disability check. It's not that much, Social Security. I owe this money to the court. I can't pay it. And, so I'm just going to have to spend 6 months in jail. I said, well, how much is your fine? It's like $8,600, like $8,600. So I'm listening to this story. I'm like, this doesn't make any sense. This guy, so I call the judge on the phone. I know the judges, and back in those days, I spent a lot of time talking to the judges about some of the decisions. And look, I'm very respectful of the branches of government. I'm working in the executive branch. The judicial branch makes some decisions, but sometimes they don't have all the information. So I told him, I said, look, this guy has got diabetes and he's missing a foot and he can't get a job to pay $8,000. And so, and now Yavapai County taxpayers, because Medicaid is federal money, they print their money, right? Yavapai County taxpayers don't print their money. Medicaid is paying this $72,000 for his medication, but now the taxpayers in this county are going to pay it. And so I'm listening to this, and the judge says, well, you got to pay. I ordered this and that. And he kind of was giving me a hard time about it. I said, you know what, Judge? I said, all due respect, I'm gonna go to my jail budget. I'm gonna get a check for $8,600. I'm gonna bring it down there and pay this fine, and you let this guy out of jail. and I'm going to save the Yavapai County taxpayers about $64,000 and let somebody out of jail who's not violent, not dangerous, doesn't need to be here, can't work, you know, all these things. So there's a little silence on the phone, and the judge says, okay, fine, I'll let him out. I said, thank you. We've done a lot of things like that over the years. Whether, you know, because this is not a matter of, you know, somebody that's in jail, you do the crime, you do the time, or this is just common sense. So when you start talking about constitutional rights, common sense, fiscal accountability, these are the opportunities that you have to look to. And I was not the sheriff at the time I did this. I always had the support of the sheriff. But this is what I expect the people that work for me to do. Look for opportunities to serve people and give the best possible outcome that is common sense. That's the best possible outcome for all parties involved. Now, I had threatened judges to bail people out many times, and they never pushed me to that point. And that was the most I was ever going to spend to bail somebody out. We had people in there on $250 bonds that were there for 30 days. And I said, we're going to pay the $250. This doesn't make any sense. And then, you know, they would get out. And it's a whole other story. I told you about it, you know, some of the things that we were running into and whatnot. And so, you know, he never came back to jail. No more law breaking, nothing like that. Just spared us all a lot of grief.
I was taken by that story when we had coffee that day a month or so ago, because I hadn't heard it, not that I should have, I guess. But to me, it really rung of to serve and protect. Law enforcement officers take an oath, to correct me, sir, to take an oath to serve and protect and to uphold the Constitution.
That's right.
To serve. And you'll see it, like if you remember LAPD, they'd have it to serve and protect on their patrol cars. Other agencies may too. But I was taken by your immediate move to serve and not draw attention to it, just go on down the road. It was another day in the office. And you've done this a good couple of times that you don't discuss. I know, and that's why I'm going to have trouble when I leave the studio here today. Do you really have 10 units out there waiting for me? Can I go out the back and trick them? Or
I've got just 2, but they're big guys.
They are big guys. Oh my gosh. Isn't it fun to have fun with the sheriff? I mean, could you do that with Andy of Mayberry? I think you could. No, all kidding aside. I mean, I was really taken by that, Sheriff Rhodes. You know that. I said it to you that day when there was nobody around, just the two of us. I was really taken by it. And other people have been also. You don't discuss a lot of the serve that you've done. And I find that admirable. I do, sir. I would be concerned if you were sitting on a corner, standing on a corner, you know, pounding your chest, look what I've done. But I think somewhere along the line, the people of Yavapai County, people in Arizona, people in the nation need to know that we have law enforcement officers that are willing to serve.
I have been, my belief around public safety is quiet strength. You're operating in the background. You're taking care of business. It is not it's not an opportunity to go and a trumpet call for self-importance. People feel safe. They believe they're safe. And they believe in the objectivity of the person wearing the badge. Because once you start going down a road talking about yourself or talking about this or talking about that, other people in the community begin to question where they fit into all of that.
Great point. All right. I will, not tonight, but I will come and bang on your door and your window until you come back, because we're going to run out of time here. I know I live on the edge, but I will, because there are several other matters of serving that I want to probe. And you know this, but we're going to run out of time today. But I don't want to run out of time before asking you about and having you share briefly, and then we'll come back. You are the president of the Arizona Sheriff's Association, and just yesterday or the day before, I may have it off, you became...
I was elected a board member of the National Sheriff's Association.
That's huge. That's big, ladies and gentlemen. That's big. So, all right, give me a minute of the Arizona, Mr. President, Mr. Chairman, of the Arizona Sheriff's Association. That's 15 counties, and then the national.
Well, look, the Sheriff's Association in Arizona, being the president is also a tremendous honor and a privilege. And, you know, we're primarily down there at the legislature advocating for good public safety policy, advocating for compensation, for funding for law enforcement, and fighting for border security. That's the big thing right now, stopping fentanyl that are coming into the communities. And we spend a lot of time doing that. Arizona only has 15 counties. Texas has 258. Yeah. New Mexico has 33, I think. We're a small but mighty bunch here in Arizona. The sheriffs are, and we try to use that influence and the voice to protect people, you know, represent the people that elected us at the state level at the times when it's necessary. I was, you know, on a call, the governor's staff called me this morning, or while I was outside, to apologize for a poorly timed email about some of the border security money. You know, they recognize that the sheriffs are, nothing gets by us. The National Sheriff's Association is the same thing, but at the national level.
That's huge.
Yes, creating
That's
public
huge.
safety policy. But the biggest thing right now that we're doing is interfacing with Department of Homeland Security, ICE, DHS, I said that, ICE, Border Patrol, and doing everything that we can to try to get them the resources and the good common sense policies that need to be in place at the border to get that situation under control.
That is so exciting. And yes, I will take my chances and sit outside your window until you say, yes, go away. I'll come back. We need to talk about that, sir. We need to talk a little bit more about Arizona Sheriff's Association, and also the national, especially given what appears to be tremendous upheaval already beginning in our nation, but what may be coming.
Absolutely.
And I'm really proud. I think I'm using the right word. I'm not playing now. I think I'm using the right word, Sheriff. I'm proud to know you. I'm proud to know that to serve is a very big part of your vocabulary, and more than just vocabulary, it's your belief system that goes right along with protecting, to serve and protect. So thank you for that. I do want to come back around and talk about your position with Arizona Sheriffs and then the National Sheriff's Association.
We'll do it.
My guest has been Yavapai County Sheriff David Rhodes. I hope you learned some things today. I really do. I hope you learned some things like behind the wall a little bit about the individual. The sheriff, absolutely, the professional, but also the individual, his beliefs and what he brings with him into the office and as he travels Yavapai County. So thank you for joining us. Sheriff, thank you for, you just got off a plane. And that's how important this show is. I paid him $1.25 to get here. Checks in the mail. But anyway, thank you. I know you are being torn in a lot of different positions. So thank you for showing up. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for watching this brand new show. And I was stopped the other day in Walmart. I said it, I think, a week ago in the last show. I think it was aisle 12. Somebody said, gee, Dr. Lyle, you've got a new show going on. And so thank you for paying attention. Thank you for enjoying my guests like Sheriff Rhodes. And I look forward to being with you again on Yavapai Speaks.